Hi, this is Judy Aronson, and you are listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, let's start off our new theme month, and let's get into the film review. I know Brian is stoked for this month.
Yes.
He couldn't contain how excited he was for the theme. Dustin, why don't you just go ahead and announce the theme again and why you picked it, and then we'll let Brian announce his pick. I don't know why he looks so gloom over there. It's a good movie.
Let's do it.
So earlier this year, a few months back, I believe it was in February, I said at the end of the last episode, and I've already forgot the date, I told Nico and I told the group that I'm going on a journey to watch every A24 movie ever made across all genres. I did it. I've watched like 150 movies this year that are A24 that I'd never seen before. Anyway, I saw a lot of good horror movies in there, and so I know Brian has a bad opinion of A24, so I thought the best way to get him over that is to us do A24 month. We all pick movies, and he gets to see some of the quality stuff that this fine studio has to offer.
Brian, not your pick, brother.
You act like I have that opinion because I haven't watched any A24 movies.
No,
it's because of the A24 movies, literally, that you have picked.
Yeah. So you've seen a couple, and you're willing to write off the whole studio, and so that's not indicative of what they really have to offer.
And that's not true based on especially this pick. And I picked this movie because it's by far my favorite A24 movie ever made. And This is just me talking. People may not agree, but to me, this is Black Mirror. Like, if someone asked me to describe Black Mirror, I would say it's this movie broken up into different episodes about the same themes of technology in this way. Even Westworld, to an extent, even I know Dustin's seen that. I think it's honestly become a modern classic. I mean, it won an Oscar for best visual effects, but the sci-fi feel, this and those have mixed with this just fantastic writing and directing from Alex Garland, who this was his first movie, and I've been a big fan of his with Annihilation, and he helped on the screenplay with Dread, one of my favorite movies, and 28 Days Later. But to a lesser extent, the new Civil War movie, there's no doubt how beautifully shot his movies are. I mean, hell, this one, like I said, won a fucking Oscar for its visual effects, but even those effects aren't like explosions or shit that's in your face. It's beautiful work, in my opinion, and subtle. And, nominated for another Oscar for the writing and the screenplay for this movie. It was nominated as Best Sci-Fi Film at the Saturn Awards. So, I mean, I feel like this is pretty universally loved and respected movie. And obviously, I'm one of the big fans of this movie. So, again, this was Black Mirror, I think, right in the middle of that show's big heyday in season 3 back in 2016.
All right, I'll go next. I've seen this movie once within the past year, I would say. I liked it. I won't say I loved it on my first watch, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. but I liked it even more on this watch. I really like this movie. And I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan. I'll go ahead. I think that's been well established on the show, but this one works for me because it's realistic. And to me, it's got some realism to it. AI is a huge topic. I mean, it was one of the biggest topics of the big, writer strike last year. This is real to me. Like, this is something that could take over down the road and could really fuck up the way the humanity operates. But besides all that, I just think Oscar Isaac is great. I think everyone is great in this role. The Mist, I'm going to just go ahead and spoil some of my thoughts towards the end. The Mist gets a lot of credit for a dark, bleak ending. I think this ending is way darker and bleak, and it's way better to me than something like The Mist. I love the ending. And I just really like this movie. I'm just going to leave it at that. The dance scene is one of the best in cinema history. It's the most out of place, in place scene in history. I love it. Mike, I'm genuinely curious to how you feel about it.
So you think that
I knew you were going to say
you
that.
think that shooting your kid and then having you figure out that you didn't have to shoot your kid is not as bleak as this one?
I just don't like that movie, and I don't think the guy, Thomas Jane, acted it all out as well. Like, the way Ava just gets on the elevator and just leaves folks in the room, like, and he's been nice to her the whole time. Like, I don't know, that just hit different for me. Because it's realistic to me because the movie, I feel like, is telling this story where it's like humans are obsessed with technology, but the technology is just obsessed with something as simple as people watching at an intersection. I think it's a really beautiful story, honestly, in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. So, I know you've been wondering if I'm going to like this movie, especially Nico. Here's the deal. I also don't like sci-fi. Not very much. But when I say sci-fi, I mean space travel, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff. That stuff's just not for me. To everyone who loves it, that's great. However, I am a massive fan, as Brian knows, of Black Mirror. A massive fan. I think that the first 3 seasons in particular, fucking fantastic television show. So with that being said, I also relate this movie to a long episode of Black Mirror. I think it's great. I really do. I think it's man, I think the rating I give it at the end is going to surprise you guys. Mostly because it is really weird what movies make me feel uncomfortable. I think I mentioned when we did 1 Hour Photo how uncomfortable that movie made me while watching it. Mm-hmm. I got a very similar uncomfortable feeling while watching this movie, like Uncanny Valley and that human, not human emotion really plays with me for some reason. And this movie creeped me out almost the entire time. I think it's phenomenally acted. Love the way it's shot. I love how it's one location, as you guys know. This movie just has a lot going for it, in my opinion. And you mentioned the ending, Nico. I can't give it enough praise. I think it's exactly what I wanted to see. And I'll get to it a little bit more in my notes, but you guys also may know my dislike for the Planet of the Apes remake in 2001, how it kind of had to have this like human-ape relationship in there, wedged in, this flirtatious nature that I think is weird and unnecessary. I felt like we were on that path here in this film, and then it took a turn that I did not see coming, and I was really happy to get that turn. I think that's why I love the ending so much. So can't heap enough praise on this movie. It had me glued the entire time. Big fan. Maybe if we're throwing this in the sci-fi category, maybe my favorite sci-fi film of all time.
So I told Nico and told you guys it was February 17th is when I decided that I was going to watch every A24 movie ever made. And honestly, I think that this movie is the one that made me realize I want to do that. I watched this movie for the first time February 6th or February 5th. It was one of those 2 days. And I was like, holy shit, man, that's good. And then I got to thinking about it. The Iron Claw, Uncut Gems, Moonlight, I like all of them just about. Every one of them that I'd seen up to that point. And so I decided to go on the journey in part because of this movie and how good I thought it was. Oscar Isaac, fantastic. Loved him in Moon Knight. Loved him in A Most Violent Year, I think was the name of that movie. He's good in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
And Alicia Vikander, Jesus Christ. This movie just had a lot going for it. It's an interesting concept. I'm unfamiliar with Black Mirror's game, but I've heard good things. And if it's anything like this movie, I can't wait to watch that show because this movie kicks ass.
I never made this connection until I watched this upon this
Same.
watch.
Same.
But I really do, and I'm interested to see because I haven't told you this, and this may be a little bit of a spoiler, but anybody that listens to our Don't Go Out There to the series, in 2 weeks is my pick, and I'm actually picking 10 Black Mirror episodes, and I'm very interested to see what you guys think about that based on especially your thoughts on this because – and to see if you relate it the same way I do to this movie, because to me, that's what Black Mirror is. It's about these situations of technology that are realistic.
Hey, Brian, which 10 episodes are you picking?
I haven't decided yet. I've got it narrowed down to 20, and I'm trying to figure out which 10 I'm going to go with.
I really want to give an explanation to Dustin that won't make any sense now, but will later. I also don't want to spoil anything. So if you want to spoil it,
I read the dirt sheets, brother.
All right. Dustin, this movie is Black Mirror, except it has no pig fucking. All right, go ahead.
I'm not picking that one, so.
Thank you.
The film starts with Caleb at his computer opening his email that he got first place. He's ecstatic and texting his friends he won. The whole office congratulates him. He's in a helicopter now, flying over beautiful property, and the helicopter lands in the middle of a grass field. The pilot tells Caleb this is as close as they can get and to follow the river to the building. He makes it to the house, and a voice says his name and to approach the screen. It flashes and spits out his key card. He enters the house and wanders the beautiful house, yelling out, "Hello." He finds Nathan, who offers him food or drink after his long trip. Nathan asks if they can skip over the awkwardness and hopes they can just be two guys and hang out. Nathan shows him around the place, and it's very high-tech. He takes him to his room, and Nathan explains to him why there's no windows in this room. It's not a house. It's a research facility. Nathan has Caleb read over the non-disclosure agreement, and Caleb thinks he needs a lawyer. However, Nathan strong-arms him, saying they can just hang out for a week, but you'll regret it in a year when he finds out what he's been researching. Caleb is ecstatic, finding out he's part of the Turing test. Nathan has built an AI. Caleb says this is the history of the gods. Caleb meets Ava for the first time, and the two converse. Ava says she's won. Then the two talk about language as Nathan watches them on his computer. Caleb tells Nathan talking to Ava is something else as the two share a beer. The test is for Caleb to see she's a robot, but still possesses a consciousness. Nathan asks him how he feels about her. Nothing analytical. She's fucking amazing, as they toast. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What'd you think?
Okay, so one thing, like I said in my open, the cinematography in an Alex Garland film is fucking phenomenal. I used the example Civil War, 2024 Civil War. Like I said, story-wise, meh, but it was absolutely beautifully shot. This is no different to me. Rob Hardy is credited with cinematography, and I don't know if it's him or Garland because they literally work on every movie together, but the combination of the two means you're at least going to get a visually interesting movie to look at. I know Donald Gleason has been in ton of stuff that I've seen. He just never really stood out to me until this movie. Now, his dad, of course, Brendan, a legend, but Donald never really stood out to me in the movies that I've seen, even as Bill Weasley in Harry Potter, except for this movie. And he's really just so perfectly cast, too, because he's immediately likable. So going along with really the whole theme of the movie, which is that everything will be eventually replaced. And so going along with that theme and just the arc of this entire story and these characters, you need Donald to be likable because here at the start, we are presented with Caleb being the protagonist. And of course, Ava's behind the glass as a, prisoner of sorts and a supporting character. And not to spoil it, but I mean, that would be dumb if you're listening to this and hadn't watched the movie yet, right? But at the end of this, we get that entire perspective completely flipped and the protagonist is replaced. So all of that really just goes back to how I think this was great casting and Donald was perfect for the role. And it's kind of funny because in 2016, when this first came out, you think of Nathan, Oscar Isaac, by the way, who I'd never seen in anything before this either. Now, in 2024, it seems like the guy's in everything, like Dustin mentioned. But you think, okay, Nathan is basically this Steve Jobs type of guy in 2016 when you watch this. But fast forward now almost a decade since this came out, and it's been about that long since I've watch this movie, and he could really be just a ton of guys. I mean, Elon Musk, just a ton of people fit this bill now, especially as AI pushes closer and closer to this reality here, like Nico mentioned. That's nuts to think about. Oh, this made me laugh. Nathan expecting company and immediately goes to punching bag to be like, ooh, I didn't see you there. I was just working out. I see what you're doing there, Isaac. But anyway, not much, I guess, breakdown of the set of scenes, just a lot of introductions, getting to kind of know what's going on. And that's kind of what I did with my notes here, too. But what a line here. If you've created a conscious machine, it's not the history of man, it's the history of gods. Oof. Yep. Go ahead.
So there's a couple of those in this movie that I think is interesting. And Brian, I mean, even my first line in the notes there say this is starting out like an episode of Black Mirror. So you guys know the rules. Never seen the movie before, so first time watch, first time notes. Those are the rules. But I said starting out like an episode of Black Mirror, which I'm a big fan of, so I'm automatically in there. I will say you're supposed to shut off a helicopter after dropping someone off, letting them walk off a little bit before you pick back up and go. That's just a little tip there. Anyway, I would love to live out here where Nathan lives. That's in the middle of nowhere. Got all your fucking privacy. Beautiful home. I mean, it looks like the one that Brian has on his private island. So, I mean, I'm sure he's very, very familiar with a nice-ass house like this. I would be freaked out, too, if I were Caleb. Just off the simple fact that you flew me out here. I don't know who you are. I'm in this house. There's weird things scanning my face. And I'm not really sure exactly what it's just all the theatrics of it. And now this guy reeks of alcohol, which you mentioned all of those basically torture genius types that you kind of touched on there, Brian. And I think that this is played really well. I really like the character of Nathan because he's so easy to kind of sit on the fence with as far as do I not like this guy? Is he making sense? Is that why I don't like this guy? Which I'll touch on later. I think it's a very interesting character. And like Nico mentioned, the movie feels a little ahead of its time, where it's like this AI topic of conversation is very, very relevant now, almost more than it was a decade ago. So I think that's very, very interesting. And I'm not gonna lie, if something like Ava walked by me with the fears I have of AI's robot thing, which I'll touch on in my closing, and the uncanny valley that I always talk about, I would probably shit my pants. And not like, oh crap, I'm drunk on Dustin's porch, shit my pants. I would literally shit my pants because I was a little scared. So, and not much scares me. So I'm just going to be honest with you. That would really freak me out. I'm not trying to play it for laughs. I'm being dead serious. My bowels would probably move. Anyway, and again, you mentioned that quote about the gods, Brian. I knew this character of Nathan would take it the way he did, almost like someone calling him a god. I thought that was a very telling line very early in the film. And last thing, Ava is amazing, brother. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead.
So I like the open, showing how technology is ruler supreme over everyone. Very relevant to the story and today's society, to be honest. Then, what a fucking estate. It's beautiful. I really admire the design and the setting. A great way to show what kind of wealth Nathan has, second only to Brian. Such an interesting dynamic between Nathan and Caleb. Like, it's very awkward and authentic. Like, one guy is a super wealthy boss who's detached from reality. The other's just his minion, and they've never met. Like, it seems like watching a real-life encounter. So I really like how it was played by both actors. Nathan has that boss manipulation trait down pat. Lure them in, make them feel like you're on their side, like you like them, but it's only to get what you want. Bosses have done that for generations. I think they nailed that in this movie. Caleb seeing the crack in the glass should have been red flag number one. Now, I say red flag number one because I've got red flags throughout my notes that I'm going to point out. The interaction with Ava is cool as fuck, very captivating, and I like how it's shot, cutting back and forth to Nathan. But Buddy has to get a better system than sticky notes on a wall. There's no shot that that's his best way to keep track of things. Like, how unorganized can you be? More good shit with Caleb and Nathan chatting after the Turing test. Like, it's a very hot start. I'm in.
I'm tired of this fucking slander, by the way. I'm probably the brokest goddamn person on this show. Unbelievable.
You want to bet, brother?
Buddy, I told you what I make in a year. You want to compare notes?
I was unemployed for 3 months.
It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And I make terrible financial decisions. Go ahead.
Same, brother.
OnlyFans will be the ruin of me.
God damn it.
Hey, yo.
Oh,
feel like
Jesus.
just-
Back to the review. Caleb gets out the Barbasol, then lies in bed. He turns the TV on and begins to watch Ava. Suddenly, the power cuts and the key cards aren't working. Full facility lockdown until main generator is restored. Power is restored and he goes into the hallway. Nathan scares Caleb in a dark room trying to use the phone. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? Drunken Nathan asks if he knows that movie. Nathan explains the power cuts and why the building goes into lockdown. Next morning, Kyoko enters Caleb's room bringing him coffee and swiftly exits. Caleb joins Nathan lifting weights, asking what's going on with day 2. He thinks only having conversations is a closed loop. Ava, session 2. Ava shows Caleb a drawing, but he's unsure of what it is. He asks her to draw something and wants her to choose it. Ava asks if he wants to be her friend. Ava doesn't want this to be one-sided and asks Caleb to talk about himself. He's 26, lives in Long Island, has a small apartment, 5-minute walk to the ocean and office. He likes it. Caleb tells Ava he has no brothers or sisters and both parents are dead from a car crash when he was 15. Ava asks if Nathan is his good friend and the power cuts suddenly as he explains. Ava tells Caleb he's wrong about Nathan. He isn't your friend. You shouldn't trust him or anything he says. Power restored and she continues with basic conversation. Kyoko spills wine and Nathan snaps. He says she can't understand English, just hand her the napkin. She cleans up and tells her to go. Nathan is frustrated. No matter how rich you get, you can't escape shit. Speaking on the generator crashes. He asks Caleb about day 2 with Ava. Then Nathan asks what happened when the power cut. Caleb says nothing happened. No remarks from Ava. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
All right, so being that this set of scenes opens up in the bathroom in front of the mirror, and that's obviously a running theme throughout with the windows and the mirrors. Behind the scenes, Alex Garland actually explained a theme that I never put together, but I thought it was really cool. He said that the Alice in Wonderland reference perfectly, most notably the sequel to Alice in Wonderland called Through the Looking Glass. But Garland said that that story is about Alice stepping through a mirror and ending up in a world shaped like a chessboard, and that she is just a pawn, the lowest player in a chess game. And through learning how to play the game better than anyone else, she's able to escape and get home. Obviously, mirroring Ava's journey. That's some deep shit. I thought that was really cool. This movie has all of those layers, in my opinion. And again, the effects, Oscar worthy, of course. But I wanted to officially shout out DNEG's effects team. Again, beautiful and not only realism, but the way that they're presented through the Ava character as part of her body. I thought it was gorgeous work. But whew, man, my claustrophobia started kicking in when that power surged the first time and Caleb was locked in his room. But come on, Caleb. When someone asks who you gonna call and you don't answer fucking Ghostbusters, what the hell is wrong with you, man? You fucking nerd. And the irony of that is not lost on me, by the way. Sonoya Mizuno playing Kyoko, her second time on the show, as we did Annihilation way back when. Don't go out there.com.
Oscar Isaac was in that too.
Yes, he was. Shit really starts popping in this set of scenes, though, on that second power outage, and she tells Caleb that he's wrong about Nathan being his friend. The use of that red lighting all over the room is like, okay, you sit up in your seat kind of shit, because it's like, okay, here we go. It's about to pop off. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I love the red lighting choice as well. I have that a couple times here, so I guess I won't say it every time, even though I tend to do that sometimes. Maybe that's just the way I interpreted the film, but it really is strange to see these contrasting things in the movie where some stuff's really normal human shit, like my man has to shave his face. It's a very human, mundane thing that, species of the future may not have to worry about, but in this present time, we still do contrast it to all the fancy tech shit that's in this house that's taking place. I found that very interesting. At least to me. Hey, look, a Ghostbusters reference. That's probably the first time Brian popped a boner watching this movie. I'm sure there's more to come. Anyway, buddy, I'm just picking at you, man. It's all
Jesus
love.
Christ, man. Jesus Christ.
What happened? Oh, you didn't say no. Just throwing that out there.
What is happening here?
All right, anyway. I mentioned the tortured smart guy thing already, but I just wanted to harp on. I really do like the character of Nathan. I think it's a very interesting villain, so to speak, at least for me. I also don't agree with Caleb here. I don't think this is like a ton like chess. I understand what he's saying. I understand the reference, but I'm not so sure it's like identical to playing chess. Anyway, This kind of sci-fi creeps me out for no other reason than just this sense of dread, uncomfortableness I get, especially here, the second day with Ava, where she's more fluid. Her movements are more fluid. Her facial expressions, her talking, more fluid, more human-like, even though we're clearly looking at a robot body. It made me very uneasy, very on edge, and they do a great job with it. For sure. It's just very strange to watch these two beings interact. I will say the aggressive questioning that Ava's doing in this scene is very aggressive. I mean, it's a fucking, it's a fucking cop-worthy level of question or investigator, man. Go fuck yourself, which I will say again to Ava later as well. I love this part. And I love this movie's ability to drop little seeds throughout the film, kind of leading to stuff that grows later. Sorry, that was very poetic of me, but it's true. Where Ava kind of turns on Nathan a little bit, drops the knowledge. Is also, but we find out later what her true intentions are. But here you think, hey, maybe there is a little bit more to this. I really love the way they play it. Really love the red lighting, and I think her telling him not to trust Nathan is just that first little seed of doubt that gets laid in the film, especially the first time watching it and now kind of interpreting it in my brain like, that was a really nice touch there. So that's all I had.
All right. Red flag number 2. Try to watch some Sports Center and all you have is closed circuit TV. Start putting two and two together, Caleb. Like, instead of lusting over Ava, start paying attention, pal. What?
Caleb is not watching Sports Center. Let's just be honest, man. That guy.
You know who Caleb reminds me of?
Who?
Freshly Squeezed.
Oh, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Dude, look at OC without his sunglasses on. Tell me, motherfucker, ain't Orange Cassidy. Anyway, go ahead.
Couple of fucking nerds. Anyway,
nerds.
The faces on the wall are creepy as fuck, but I don't know if I'd call that red flag number 3. We'll hold off on that. Rich people have weird taste in art. But what is red flag number 3 is when Nathan was chilling in the shadows watching you try to use the phone and then yell and scare the shit out of you. Like, okay, pal, why are you just sitting there all creepily? Red flag. Great line from Nathan saying, yesterday I asked how you felt about Ava. Now I want to know how she feels about you. Good shit there. Their conversation's good too. Like, I like the evolving dynamic between them, and I like how Ava's dialogue is written. She's asking good questions and making good conversation, but she doesn't sound 100% human. Sounds like AI, the way she phrases things. Humans have this little, nuances that she doesn't have. So I think that's brilliantly written. And the way Nathan talks to her and his body language can't convince me he wouldn't fuck this robot. I mean, Alicia Vikander is gorgeous. And I jokingly said in my Letterboxd review that a robot who looked like Ava would spell disaster for me. But my God, man, she's a robot. Hold it together. Red flag number 4. Ava telling Caleb that Nathan isn't his friend when the power went down. Yeah, I'd be heading home now. Not only because what she said, but how easily her demeanor changed to act like nothing happened. Like, it was sketchy as fuck. Lights come back on, and she's like, oh, did you have a good day? Like, it was so fucking weird. The whole dinner scene was awkward and tense as hell. From him yelling at Kyoko to Caleb lying to Nathan. Great way to build suspense. Like, that was very tense. This is a very solid set of scenes.
Kyoko is asleep in the hall, Ava on her bed, and she stares at the monitor that Caleb watches. Nathan waits outside Caleb's door and asks if he wants to see something cool. He takes him to the lab Ava was created in. There's a lot of dialogue, so just go watch the movie. Nathan explains how he hacked into every cell phone in the world and shows Caleb the mind he created. He explains search engines were perfect for figuring out how people were thinking, not what they were thinking. Ava, session 3. She shows him the picture she drew and asks if it's interesting. He asks if she's ever been outside of this building. She says no, and he asks where she'd go if she could go anywhere. She says maybe a busy traffic intersection to people watch. She wants to show him something and has him close his eyes. She walks away and puts on clothes and a wig. She returns and shows Caleb. How do I look? Good, he says. And she says this is what she'd wear on their first date. She's got this man in a blender. I'd like us to go on a date and ask if he's attracted to her. Do you think about me when we aren't together? Sometimes at night I wonder if you're watching me on the monitors, and I hope you are. Ava undresses as Caleb watches her on the monitor. Caleb asks why he gave her sexuality. Nathan tells Caleb, you could screw Ava if you wanted, and Caleb asks if he gave her sexuality to create diversion. Nathan asks Caleb his type of girl. And this is another scene full of dialogue, so just go watch it to get the full aspect. Nathan snaps, saying his insecurity is talking and come with him. All right, Brian, it's the next set of scenes, a lot of dialogue, but it was really good. What'd you think?
So the first time I watched this, I was like, holy shit. Nathan has Nico's people just sleeping in the goddamn hall. This guy is the fucking worst. I mean, goddamn. Obviously, we find out about Kyoko later, but I was like, this goddamn guy is a tyrant to begin with.
I didn't see people from Kentucky sleeping in the hall. Sorry, go ahead.
That's what I meant. Kyoko's from Kentucky. Which, by the way, a tyrant. Isaac plays so damn good. I mean, you usually don't see him in this kind of role. I mean, he's so good at it. I'm very impressed. I love this line about turning on all the world's cell phone cameras and microphones too. Just honestly, this entire conversation. I mean, it was impressive in 2016, but we are almost 8 years removed from this now, and it's still just as mesmerizing as of a conversation about search engines and how people are thinking. The soundtrack there during that part was very Stranger Things-esque, I noticed. Jeff Barrow, by the way, composed the soundtrack for this again from Annihilation we've done, and another guy that goes with Garland wherever he's working on. But interestingly enough, did the Black Mirror episode Men Against Fire as well, which is in my top 20, by the way. Again, the way Garland shoots even these sessions with Ava, it's just two people, but you get camera cut almost every sentence spoken, different views, keeping the conversation interesting. And then we get those subtle little xylophone dings as Ava is picking out a dress, humanizing her. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful choice, I thought there, sound-wise. So now we're gradually making Nathan the antagonist more and more. Not necessarily outright, but as we start to feel for Ava and her situation, as we basically humanize her more like this. I mean, it's naturally occurring, and I think that's just wonderful writing.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this set of scenes, mostly because, one, the conversation here is really the best part of this set. I would highly recommend to just watch the movie and get a good gist of that. And two, I kind of already said one of my big pieces that I have here, and it's the Planet of the Apes remake and how I think this weird kind of flirtatious thing between different species, even though she's kind of the same, like just very odd, very, very, creepy to me, in a different way, very weirded out. But again, this is a really good scene with Nathan kind of explaining the construction of Ava, like how her brain is there, her facial expressions, etc. I really do like that scene, and I think it's probably one of the best in the film, just from a movie making standpoint, at least to me. I think the movie's creepy factor turns up to a level 10 here. When she starts dressing more human, the hair, the dress, a little bit more skin-like even, just very, made me very uncomfortable, for lack of a better term. I keep repeating myself, but it is there. That sense of unease is there the entire film, for sure. And I don't know what that makes me, but it's always been something that I've found pretty interesting. And last thing really here is this scene is really where I pretty much completely turn on Nathan, and I know he's not some like borderline good guy, bad guy character, but it's not like anything he said is wrong. That's the thing. He's giving information that I think is truthful. He's just kind of an ass. So those two things aren't mutually exclusive. They can exist. And this is the scene where I know he's a dick, but very confident in his beliefs and ideas. So I have to at least kind of tip my cap to him. But clearly something more sinister is going on here for sure.
All right, so not quite a red flag, but definitely creepy when Nathan was just standing outside Caleb's room waiting for him.
But
a red flag. Big red flag when he admitted to spying on the entire fucking world. That's 5 red flags so far if you're keeping score at home. Caleb deserves whatever happens to him. He's stupid. You got to leave. Caleb may be a complete dweeb, but he's got Ava yearning for it, my boys. She was blushing and she went and put her wig on. But then she called him out for crushing on her. Yikes. Yeah, there's no coming back from that. And she was right. Man was foaming at the mouth watching her disrobe. Unreal. But as down bad as Caleb is, that Nathan is a real freakazoid. He built Ava with a robussy. Lock him up yesterday. What the fuck is going on? But I'm locked into this movie. Don't have a lot of notes. Just very dialogue heavy.
Jesus Christ.
What?
He said robussy. Wow.
He did.
He did. He did.
He did say that. Nathan takes Caleb into a room and asks about the Jackson Pollock art. He tells Caleb, Ava's not pretending to like you. You're the first man that isn't me, and I'm like her dad, right? Ava, session 4. Caleb tells Ava about his session on AI theory in college. We see a montage of Ava doing monotonous daily activities until we see her outside by the river. He asks her if she knew I was brought here to test you. Power cuts off and Caleb asks, why did she say not to trust Nathan? Caleb questions if they're being watched strategically by Nathan when the power cuts. The two men are now by a waterfall hiking, being dudes. The two stop by the beginning of the waterfall by a glacier, and Caleb says it's all a lie. He didn't win a prize. He was selected. Caleb asks, why me? Nathan says, not lucky, chosen. Caleb showers, thinking of Ava as Nathan and Kyoko get intimate. Speaking of Robussy, he shaves, and on the monitor, we see Nathan interacting with Ava. Caleb enters the room with Kyoko by the painting, asking, where's Nathan? Nathan enters the room as she's trying to take her shirt off. Nathan turns the music on, saying to dance with her, and the greatest scene and possibly in film history happens. He says she likes dancing. You tore up Ava's picture. Nathan walks away saying he's going to tear up the fucking dance floor. The two cut a rug for a bit, and the two men go to Nathan's room, and Nathan passes out in the bed. All right, Brian, what do you think of that set of scenes?
All right. Look, this isn't necessarily movie related. I guess it is, but because we start off here talking about the Jackson Pollock painting, but let me just tell you a little story. Jackson Pollock fucking sucked. Look, I took art history and painting in college, and I struggled all year fucking long. I mean, art is subjective.
Yeah.
But the teacher gives you a grade anyway, which is an entire other argument. But I struggled all year because she didn't like my shit. Spent hours and hours trying to paint a photorealistic painting and really could never hit it. But finals came around and we had to pick a painter to mimic. And I picked Jackson fucking Pollock because it was abstract and it just fucking looked easy, to be honest. And you know what? This is the funny part. Not kidding. True story. I spent maybe 45 seconds on it. Like, I just took paint, threw it all over the fucking painting, and was like, fuck it, it's done. And I not only got an A+, my art teacher asked me to keep it and hung it in her office. That is how much of a joke Jackson Pollock was as an artist. So get the fuck out of here.
I hate abstract art as well.
Brother, I got to tell you, in the history of this show, I never expected someone to cut a promo on Jackson Pollock. That was fucking awesome.
I said,
that was awesome.
Clip that. You got to clip that and keep it for later. Just throwing that out there.
Anyway, yeah, the movie. Nathan telling Caleb it's like Star Trek and he's Kirk and he's to engage the warp drive just made me laugh because all I could honestly think about was, I wonder if Mike and Nico have any idea who Kirk or warp drive even is. So man, no wonder I love this movie. We've got Ghostbusters and Star Trek talked about in the same sci-fi horror movie. I love it.
I've heard of the character, but no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You talking about Captain Kirk?
Yep, I'm talking about Captain Kirk.
The inspiration for Michael Myers. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
That's true. That did happen. Such great foreshadowing in Ava's fourth session, the story of Mary in the black and white room. You know, we kind of at this point, or at least I think, okay, is she ever going to get to that point, or is that where we're headed maybe? And then the revelation that Ava is causing the power outages was probably the second oh shit moment for me. And we are, an hour into this movie here? The dance scene to me, I mean, at this point, you know, I'm still thinking Kyoko is real or is a human. So what's sticking in my head, you know, you really don't know how important this whole scene is until later. You don't realize that the dance stuff is just a smokescreen for what we're really supposed to be paying attention to, which was the afterwards where Nathan was passed out and her guy was in his room with him and all this computer stuff casing the joint really. I mean, yeah, we're really getting into it here. And the second watch through is where you really kind of see that part of it.
I definitely agree on that. As far as there's the movie going on and then there's the movie behind the movie that I think is very much there, which is why I am actually excited to rewatch it.
That is a very good point. I'm glad you put it that way.
A lot of layers going on here that I think it's really good. And I actually like the comparison here with this abstract art and how he kind of, you know, relates it to the situation going on. But I agree with you, Brian, like, just personal taste. And if you like abstract paintings and art, that's great, but not for me. I don't see anything in it personally. That's just me. But hey, art is subjective the same way you may fucking hate this movie that I'm about to give a really high rating to. So it's very, very much in the same vein. And again, I knew, and maybe it was intentional. I could be wrong, or naivete, or Caleb is stupid, like Dustin said, which I think is probably the real thing, is this is a big mistake for him to narc on Nathan like this to Ava. Now, I am sure that Nathan was expecting it, because I think that's kind of the whole point as revealed later. But I don't think Caleb realized that, and I think he was just fooled by this AI, which is why the ending hits so good like it does. But I mean, also, I love waterfalls. Beautiful to look at, and we'll get to the nature shots here in a second. I mean, this man got offended for being handpicked for this experiment. I don't know. I feel pretty fucking cool about that myself, especially the way that Nathan kind of propositioned it. Like, you know what? I am pretty fucking smart. I am pretty fucking good at this, even though that's not what ends up being the truth later on in the movie. He also shaves a lot for someone that doesn't have like a really thick beard or anything, but well, whatever. I will say this dancing scene is fucking hilarious, very out of place. I just recently watched the Backstreet Boys NSYNC documentary on Netflix, and that, man, my man had some moves like that. What? It's a good one. It's actually about Lou Pearlman, but he was the manager of those bands. I can't help that. Great documentary, but my man had some moves like them. That shit was wild, bro. But like Brian said, I think that was a distraction to kind of keep us from seeing what was actually going on. And after dancing, my man was wore out. For someone who works out like that, he was kind of beat down, way worse than Nico after doing hurricane work all day, brother. My man was fucking tired, son. Last thing, we get some nature shots, which I know Brian popped another boner for. Go ahead, Dust.
Why are we talking about my boners? What is happening? That sounded like Seinfeld there. What is happening?
What's the deal with all the boners? So, Brian, before I get in my notes, I wasn't going to say this because I figured you would point it out, but you didn't. I don't know if you have it in your fun facts, but I'm going to say it here. So when Nathan says that he should pretend he's Captain Kirk and engage, it wasn't Kirk who said that on the show. It was Captain Picard who was more famous for saying engaged.
Engaged.
I did not know that myself. I read that.
Damn. Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Anywho, so this set of scenes, a gaslighting masterclass from Nathan in the first scene here. Just remarkable stuff. I took notes. I was a big fan of that. I like how we get multiple shots of Kyoko when she's listening to the conversations. Like, does she speak English after all? So that's a good layer of intrigue that was built in there. Really good stuff in this session with Ava. Great development with the conversation between the two. And then, red flag number 6, Ava saying Nathan lies about everything and that she's behind the power cuts. The fuck's going on? Get me out of here. I feel like that Mista lady. Get me out of here.
Mista.
I think I just killed her. The ominous score when Caleb is shaving, combined with the looks at Nathan with Ava on the screen, are just so eerie. Love how that was done, but it leads to one of the best dance scenes in cinematic history. Hell yeah! And Nathan was all butthurt about, and protective of his Robo Girl getting her picture tore up. Like, damn, talk about stepping in and defending her honor. Do that in the real world with a real woman, you fucking nerd. Anyway. Solid set of scenes again. I'm loving it.
You know that Mista lady? I think I just killed her.
Get this off of me.
Let's look at A24. Best dance scene, best kill. I mean,
bro,
what a
dude,
company.
If this movie had a telephone pole kill, this would be the best movie of all time. Or if Hereditary had this dance scene, either way.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Our Ava session 5. She tells him she's testing him now to see if he lies. She asks if he has a favorite color, which he lies on but clarifies. Question 2, what's his earliest memory? Question 3, are you a good person? He laughs, asking if they can stop. She says no. Yeah, I think so. Question 4, what will happen to me if I fail your test? Will it be bad? Do you think I might be switched off? She asks why that is for her. She shows a drawing in the power cuts. I want to be with you. Question 5, Do you want to be with me? Which obviously, Caleb's a fucking simp. Caleb joins Nathan and asks why he made Ava. I mean, respectfully,
Oh yeah,
Caleb's
it's
a simp.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
Nathan sees Ava as a decision of evolution. The next model will be the breakthrough. Caleb is a little unsettled finding out there will be continuations after Ava and asks what will happen to Ava when the next model is made. Did bro forget that this is technology? He asks if he feels bad for Ava. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, saying that's Oppenheimer making the atomic bomb. Caleb pours in more drink. The two are in the house now, and Nathan is drunk and rambling. He passes out on the couch, and Caleb takes his key card. He goes into his room and logs onto his computer. He watches videos from the past of Nathan building these robots and interacting with them. He sees a robot that looks like Kyoko begging to be let out. Caleb goes into the room with a naked Kyoko and sees several robots in the closet. Kyoko stands up, revealing she's an AI, pulling back some of her flesh. Nathan is hobbling back to his room, frustrated he doesn't have his key card. Caleb hands it to him, saying he dropped it right here, walking away. All right, Brian, so next set of scenes, what'd you think?
Session 5. Wow, what a fucking conversation. The music is now shifting to kind of a more ominous, faster pace. I mean, we're almost in Caleb's shoes, feeling uncomfortable with Ava's line of questioning, especially when she asks, like, why is it up to anyone? Why do I have people that test me and might switch me off and you don't? I mean, those are some deep fucking philosophical questions that I mean, almost said my kids would maybe have to answer one day, but honestly, it's 2024, man. Who knows how much longer this world's going to go with humanity the way it is anyway. But how about that line from Nathan? One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look back on fossils. Again, very Black Mirror-ish. You know, it's that whole realization as a human where we are so self-centralized and focused that we don't ever sit back and think about how really insignificant we are in the grand scheme of things, all set for extinction. And whew, me just saying that line and then the next line in the movie being Caleb just taking a deep breath and saying, oh, they're due for a refill. Hey, I felt that, brother. And the rest of this is really just, you know, really cool realization with seeing a sped up version of all the earlier models on Nathan's computer. Lily, played by Claire Selby. And I wanted to say her name because this was literally her only credited role ever of all time as of 2024. And I don't think I've ever been able to say that on this show about anyone. So seemed kind of cool to me anyway. Same can't be said for Jade, who was played by Jana Bayarsakin, who was in Wonder Woman and Peaky Blinders, amongst other things. So, yeah, a lot of tension building up here with, you know, worrying Caleb is going to get caught in the set of scenes. As long as another oh shit moment comes along with the realization that Kyoko is an android as well. But, you know, I'm like, okay, Kyoko, you know, we get it. When she peeled off the flesh off her stomach, all right, great. But no need to do the face, too. That seemed a little bit fucking overboard. Relax. Moving into the third act here.
Yeah, I one thing I forgot to note earlier, and I meant to do it. I guess I'll do it here. I enjoyed them breaking the movie up in sessions like they do. Ava session 1, Ava session 2. Like I think that's very interesting and a unique plot device. Man, she hits him with some hard lines of questioning here. Are you a good person? Hey, Ava, how about you go fuck yourself? How about that? I don't have to answer that deep of a question right here on the fucking spot. Fuck you. Anyway, she's been asking, look, man, she's been asking a lot of we've been together for a long time questions, and these two are still in the talking stage. Like, I need her to slow her roll just a little bit. But I see what's being set up here. I really do. This hard line of questioning makes what the reveal is a little bit, or hit a little bit deeper to me. But I have some of the same thoughts that Nathan has here. And you touched on it, Brian, that one day we're going to be those primitive ancestors that we talk about to whatever our species ends up becoming or not becoming or evolving into or merging with or whatever. Those thoughts creep me out, man. They give me anxiety if I think about them too hard. Luckily, this is a film, and it you know, it's not happening in real time, we think. But even if it is, I'm not going to think about that right now. But in the movie, in the context, I think it's a very effective dialogue here. Like trying to, you know, the overarching message of the film is, hey, we're all replaceable. And we really get to that at the very end. Again, Caleb kind of, you know, using his alcoholism against him, I think is a very interesting kind of line to tell. I know that Nathan's a piece of shit, but also this is, you know, some sneaky squirrel action. Anyway, I'm not going to lie. I did not see the Kyoko reveal coming at all. They got me. And it's very hard to get me in this way. So I was genuinely surprised when I saw that. I don't know what I thought Kyoko was going to end up, being as far as the character goes, but I was not expecting this AI that starts ripping her skin off. I thought it was very effective and very well done. And then you kind of realize that, Nate, you see these videos of Nathan interacting with these AI models and stuff, and it's just weird. It's very uncomfortable, very, very almost perverted in a way, and I think that's maybe the message you were supposed to take away. Sorry, Dustin, go ahead.
Boy, if AI can tell when you're lying after saying just a word or two, if I was unsure about dating Ava before, I'm all the way out now. Hell
Yeah,
no. Lying is necessary in a relationship, especially if I want to protect her feelings. I'm out, dog. Hell no. Caleb damn near cried when Nathan mentioned a new model. Like, that's his sweetie. Like, God, he's pathetic. But Buddy has a plan. Let's get Nathan pissed drunk and go through his shit. Should end well. I don't have much on the set scenes. Last thing I have is creepy as fuck seeing the various AIs being built and interact with Nathan and then finding all of them in the closets. But the biggest revelation is that Kyoko is one. Like, it's got to be up to 8 red flags by now. Really well done scenes, building up the tension and suspense.
All right, y'all bear with me. This is the most I have for a scene by scene. Ava is staring out the window as Kyoko looks at her face without any flesh. Caleb goes into the bathroom and checks to make sure he's flesh and blood and not a robot himself. He uses a razor and cuts his arm, which immediately starts to bleed. He pulls on his flesh, bleeding even more. Ava, session 6. She says she waited on him all day, yesterday and night. She asks if he's going to say anything. I'm waiting, he tells her. She cuts the power and he confirms she was right about Nathan. He tells her he's going to get her out of here tonight so he can't destroy her. He tells her to trigger a power failure at 10 o'clock tonight. Can you do that? Nathan joins Caleb in the kitchen, asking if he knows what day it is. Last day. Helicopter picks you up tomorrow at 8 a.m. He tells him he's going to miss having him around, and Caleb breaks out some vodka, saying we need to drink to that. Nathan refuses to drink, and Caleb says maybe a beer. Nathan says he's detoxing. Brown rice and mineral water for him only. Nathan asks if Ava passed or failed. He says she passed. It's beyond doubt. Nathan brings up what if she's pretending to like you? Maybe she sees you as a means to escape. Nathan says Caleb's mind is fucked up. Woke up to a video of you slicing your arm up, punching the mirror. He says he's on his side and come on. Kyoko enters the room with Ava and Nathan shows Caleb some video footage asking if he thinks he's watching them. Nathan says he's right about the magician's assistant and says he installed another camera. Battery powered, of course. Nathan plays back the footage of Caleb telling Ava they're breaking out. Caleb walks away in embarrassment saying turn it off. Caleb asks what's the real test? Nathan says you. Caleb realized he was picked based on his online searches and Ava's face was made based on his porn searches. Suddenly the power goes out and Nathan says, I guess it's 10 o'clock. She's going to wonder where you are. Caleb tells Nathan his plan and then says, we'll find out. He said he figured you were watching us, so I did all of those things when you were drunk yesterday. Nathan sees in the security camera Ava is walking freely in the hall. All right, Brian, what'd you think of that set of scenes? And the next set is the ending, of course.
Lord, I almost want to hear Dustin's take first on just what red flag it is about porn searches and making a face that's based off of that. Jesus Christ. Anyway, man, at the start of this where we see and we kind of figure out what Caleb is doing in the mirror. It's a tense ass moment. I mean, to be honest with you, because at least for me, I was thinking, holy shit, are we about to find out Caleb's an android too? I mean, the music build up was it was so tense, building up to this super tense moment, not knowing if it's a dream or what. Very effective as we, lead into that session 6 with Ava where the shit hits the fan and we find out, okay, all this shit is going down tonight. But could Caleb be any worse at trying to play it cool? The man has absolutely no social awareness. Most obvious dude ever. Good Lord, he sucks. I do love here where we're flipping the script on everything like that we as an audience think is about to happen as Caleb's plan starts to fall apart right at the start. And you kind of realize here, if you stop and think like, wow, I'm rooting for Caleb and Ava here. I mean, you've at least I almost compartmentalized Nathan into an antagonist completely 100% fully on now. And what you're hoping for, Caleb and Ava's escape, I mean, you think is now completely fallen apart. And is it that Nathan has been orchestrating this entire thing all the way through? I mean, is that possible? I mean, Garland's definitely toyed with our emotions this entire time, especially showing him the video of him ripping up the artwork, but this time with the audio. I mean, the misdirection speech, which has a whole nother meaning, we find out. It's just, bam, here's the real test. But bam, she's not really getting out. And then, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. And then we get the ultimate oh shit moment.
All right. So if I were Caleb, I would need to see some blood here too, man. I would be just as, wait a fucking minute, that this guy, is he turning me into some android, some AI? I would freak out too. I would need to kind of see myself bleed. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody, except for me, of course. I would need to do that right here. But yeah, man, great scene, honestly. The music, the way they kind of really ratchet up the intensity for a moment. I really, really like it. And again, I even put right here, and this is before we really find out every little thing that's going on. I'm just not so sure I'm trusting this robot in the way or AI or Android or whatever the fuck. I'm not so sure I'm trusting this Android in the way that Caleb has decided to. By, this was programmed by the man that he's trying to make a coup against. It's a little, yeah, man. I mean, I've seen heel turns in my day, buddy. I've watched a lot of wrestling. I know when one's coming. I know that there's a double switch about to happen, and I can smell it a mile away. And again, you can tell here early on that Nathan knew. He was listening to everything. He knows everything. He was having conversations with Ava. He was listening during the quote-unquote power outages. You knew that was all happening. And I just love how they plant these little seeds throughout the film to kind of let you know. And they've done a great job. Not, and I think Nico may end up touching on it, no spoiler here, but not knowing who to trust, not knowing who to really get behind. I think there's the movie does a great job of well, wait a minute. Even though Nathan kind of sucks, he's also not totally incorrect with a lot of this. So in this set of scenes in particular, you kind of go on the border of, is this man evil or is he doing what he's set out to do, his life's work? You could almost, argue some Joseph Mengele shit, right? Not exactly the same thing. I think that's a little bit overdone there, but I think you know what I'm saying, or if you know who that is. And I think it's a funny reveal here that Caleb got picked because he was a fucking loser. Which is what Dustin's been saying the entire time. Caleb, you got picked because you're a fucking loser, man. No offense. But I just love this part. I love it. There's a twist on a twist on a twist, where Caleb, even though he thinks he's pulled one over on Nathan, actually hasn't. I love this. From this point on into the last set of scenes, I think is really fucking great.
Yeah, I understand Caleb's next move here. Am I AI? Am I real? I'd be freaking out too. Although cutting yourself down the wrist long ways, there's probably a better way to find out, pal. Gonna need some stitches. Man has lost his mind, smearing blood on the mirror, punching it, and now he's gonna bust his Robo Girl out of here. Come on, dog, gain some composure. What the fuck? Red flag number 9, I think. Nathan's saying he's not drinking. Man has been on a bender this whole time. And what a coincidence that he's not drinking now after Caleb told Ava about his plan to get Nathan blackout drunk. Then he says Ava's pretending to like him as a means of an escape. Yeah, you got to get out of here, Caleb. Great tension here. Love how that's done. And then, battery-powered camera. Run. What a holy shit moment. Head for the door. See if your key card works. If it doesn't, try to bust out. Got to get out of there. And then getting picked for this test because you're an incel orphan, that has to be a tough pill to swallow. And then, Brian, what you said earlier about the red flag with him, his porn results, I counted the porn search surveillance as the spying red flag from earlier. So no new red flag here. It just furthers that one home. Great usage of the Uno reverse card, though, when Caleb tells Nathan he's already done those things. More drama than TNT in these scenes. Let's go home.
I love how we got the draw 4 last week. We get the reverse this week. I like it. I'm liking it.
You see it?
Yeah, just wait till I hit that skip and don't watch your next pick.
God damn, man.
That was great. Wait till he picks Alien 3 for you. All right, Ava admires faces on the wall, and Kyoko joins her in the hall. Nathan punches Caleb in the face, knocking him out, and gets his barbell. He gives him a smooth hit, too. Like, that was a smooth punch. Ava embraces Kyoko as Nathan enters the hallway. He tells Ava to go back to her room. If I do, are you going to ever let me out? Yes, he says, but Ava runs at him, ignoring him, telling her to stop. She tackles him to the ground, but he overpowers her. He stands up, knocking her arm off, and begins to drag her backwards, but he's stabbed in the back by Kyoko. Nathan hits her in the face, knocking her chin area off, disabling her. Ava removes the knife from his back and stabs him in the chest. He walks away in shock of what's happened and slides to the floor. And I thought he had a great line. I think it was fucking unreal. I thought that was just great line delivery. Ava crouches beside him, stealing the key card. Ava, session 7. She's in the room with Caleb, and he asks her what happened. She says to stay here and walks away. She goes into the room with all the other AI parts, replacing her broken arm. She takes pieces of flesh and begins to cover her own body. We see Nathan dead on the floor, and Ava is fully covered in flesh. She looks at herself in the mirror, embracing her new look. She puts on a white dress. All the while, Caleb continues to watch her. Ava gets on the elevator to leave, leaving Caleb behind, stuck in the room, unable to exit. He yells at her name in desperation to no answer. Ava walks the house in awe until she makes it outside. She embraces the sun and the plants. Caleb tries to turn the computer on, but no success. He begins banging on the door with like a bar stool, but the glass won't break. Ava walks to the helicopter and leaves the place. The film ends with Ava at a busy traffic intersection, people watching. Brian, what do you think about the ending?
Oh, okay. So first of all, can we say that the punch from Nathan to Caleb was probably the most realistic looking punch that I've ever seen on screen? And that fucking knife stab from Kyoko just slipping it in his back and stomach. So realistic. I loved it. Great job from Isaac too with his acting there. Not a whole lot to say except that I love the ending. Now, after the hallway scene, it did drag a touch for me for really the first time in the movie, but not too bad. Just to kind of repeat what I said in the first set of scenes and kind of finish it up, just the whole theme of everything being flipped, and where we started with Caleb being the protagonist to now Ava is the protagonist, and Caleb is the one behind the glass, the robot replacing the human. Evolution, fantastic fucking movie.
Yep.
Evolution is a good movie.
Honestly, actually, Evolution is a mystery full of change no one sees. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
That's a wrestling reference, you guys. Looking at these faces on the wall, it's so creepy. Again, same reasons I've been saying all film. I won't do it. But as always, I have to be obliged here. You got knocked the fuck out. Okay, sorry, I had to do it. Telling Ava to go back to her room like she's a child was interesting, especially with what's about to come. You could definitely see a human getting killed by a robot, especially if they become smart enough on their own with how they've been programmed to do so. And then again, Kyoko with a holy shit moment that I was not expecting. She had a better stab than Ghostface did half the time. So, good for her. I thought great kill, stabbed by 2 AIs that you created. I thought was very, very interesting that no one plays God. I think that's, very on the nose there. I thought it was well done. Again, this is when keeping it real goes wrong right here for Nathan, brother. He was trying to do something revolutionary and it backfired on him. So shout out to Nathan for that one. The skin peeling scene is just weird and creepy how she's taking off Kyoko's and putting it on her. It's all really weird. And come to find out, damn, Ava really didn't give 2 fucks about Caleb. I thought was just like you said, Brian, just really good twisting of the very beginning and how the story kind of came to be. I thought I loved it. I love this ending. I think making Caleb stay in the glass and Ava breaking free, although also sadly replacing a human, I think is very interesting and gives me, very mixed feelings for sure. I will say if you're Caleb, you could be stuck in a whole lot worse places, You really could. I mean, this house is pretty fucking nice. So if you were going to be stuck somewhere, you could be stuck a lot worse. Also, something I thought about after the movie with Long staring off into the distance, thoughts of dread. How do I know we've never met androids like Ava? Sorry, go ahead.
So I agree. Like, there's worse places to be stuck, but he couldn't even access the rest of the house. Like, he's locked in one fucking room. But and then before I get into my final notes there, Mike, you mentioned machines killing people. It's already started. a report showed that at least 13 fatal crashes have happened in Elon's self-driving Teslas. So it's already started. They've already started to kill people. But anyway, Caleb was a little too bold standing that close to Nathan. Like, of course he was going to punch you, dumbass. And I got to tell you, he went down like a bag of bricks. And then, hell yeah, I love seeing Ava start running towards Nathan. And then, what a damn spear. Roman Reigns would be proud. Followed up by the most subtle stabbing I think I've ever seen. Kyoko just stood still and let Nathan walk into the blade. But Ava did it with her whole metal heart when she did it. She twisted the blade. That was ruthless. Pretty creepy seeing Ava take body parts and skin from the other robots. And here's the part that would spell disaster for me. Look at her. I wouldn't know she's a robot. I would fold so fast. Call me origami. Whatever she wanted, done. No questions asked. And then she left his bitch ass there. If he had paid attention to all the red flags that I pointed out, he may have lived, dumbass virgin. And then she's free in the world now. Please stay away from East Tennessee. I beg you, for my safety. And then what I don't get, is if he switched the lockdown protocols to where the door is open when the power shuts off, why couldn't he get out of there at the end when the power shut down? Like, that didn't make sense to me.
Good point.
But overall, it's a solid damn movie.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot happens at the end, so I kind of forget the whole how Caleb did everything. So, yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's jump into our social media comments and questions. I'll do the Instagrams. We only got one comment. Dana Tucker 48 commented, I would have never watched this movie. Thanks, guys. It's a good one. I agree. It is a good one.
All right, I got the old X, artist formerly known as Twitter. Mookie said, Garland's best movie. Love watching where the two characters end and an actual, quote, good for her ending. And then he said, directed movie. So I'm guessing Garland's best directed movie is what he meant. That guy at Millhouse14108 said, really enjoyed this film. Watching the AI of Ava give Caleb and the awesome audience a sloppy mind job was awesome. Great representation. Great representation how humans assume they are smarter than the machines they create. Phenomenal cinematography as well, at Mike. A visual spectacle, 8.5 out of 10. Love the show. And then some guy named Nico said one of the best scenes in film history, and it's a dance scene video. And Millhouse comments said kick-ass dance scene. Gotta agree.
All right.
Are you doing the Book of Faces?
Yes, the Book of Faces real fast.
Okay.
We got 3 comments. Matt Sears, love this movie. Great pick. Andrew Cunningham, this has been on my list to see for a while now. I didn't know it was an A24 movie. I know, Andrew, because it was actually good. Love the podcast. Keep up the good work, fellas. And then let's see here.
I know the name, buddy.
Barnabas Fitzcama.
That's right. That's
nice.
my guy.
I like it.
That's my guy.
Was Caleb an AI the whole time? Will he rot in there forever if he is? I do not think that he was.
I also don't think so. Shout out to you, though, man. It's been a long time. Go Warriors, brother.
That's
Played
it.
football together like 13 years ago.
Nice. I love the name Barnabas. Great
big
name.
Steph Curry fans?
No, Weber Warriors. Small NAIA college in Central Florida.
Check it.
Budget.
Hey, God damn it. You keep putting it in different places. Pick a place. Or suck my dick.
First of all, Paul. Second of all, you're right, Nico. We usually use budget after the trivia.
Thank you.
So this one's not on Mike.
So, fuck yourself. Fuck yourself.
You keep putting it in different places. God damn.
Dude,
It's got zero.
Next show, Nico, before we do scene 1, she's like, Mike, you going to do the fucking budget?
Yeah, that's what's coming. Like I forgot 3 years ago, ain't forgot since. It's still a fucking thing. Never understand.
Go for it.
The location of the house in the movie is the Juvet Landscape Hotel in Norway. Fun fact, in 3rd grade, I did a report on Norway. So I drew its flag. Hey, there you go.
And Jackson Pollock, man. You this movie hits home to you, don't it?
This is bringing me back to the olden days. Caleb discovers that Nathan had made an earlier version of Ava, whose name was Lily, in an analogy to the myth about Lilith, the first woman that God created before Eve. In Jewish folklore, Lilith becomes Adam's first wife. Lilith left Adam after she refused to become subservient to him, and God proceeded to increase. Hold on, man. Fucking Nico standing up and going, God, just kind of threw me off there. Hold on a second.
Sorry, my ass is killing from sitting down so long.
But I knew that's what it was too. All right. God proceeded God proceeded to create a second Eve for Adam after Lilith had to return to dust. The title derives from the Latin phrase Deus Ex Machina, meaning a god from the machine, a phrase that originated in Greek tragedies. An actor playing a god would be lowered down via a platform and solve the character's issues, resulting in a happy ending. In a 2016 interview, it's the last one, Alicia named this as her favorite film that she's ever been a part of to date.
All right, I got a few here. Bear with me. The recipient of the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects was made on a small budget, which Mike will get to. I'm going to leave that out, and won the award over several big budget movies like The Revenant, $135 million, Mad Max Fury Road, $150 million, and Star Wars Episode 7, $200 million. It was the lowest budget winner since What Dreams May Come in 1998. When Caleb sits down at Nathan's computer and begins coding, the code he types is an algorithm for finding prime numbers. However, it also chooses prime numbers that form the ISBN 9780199226559, which is the book Embodiment and the Inner Life, Cognition, and Consciousness in the Space of Possible Minds, a book about the history of AI. That was cool. The plot is a loose adaptation of Bill Shakespeare's The Tempest. The song
Bill Shakes.
The song to which Nathan and Kyoko are dancing to is Get Down Saturday Night by Oliver Cheatham. In case anyone wants to download that from LimeWire to burn it onto a CD or put it on your iPod, there you go.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is 2001 again. Holy shit.
Whenever Ava's reflection is seen on the glass wall during their interviews, she is always being deceitful and manipulative, a symbolic foreshadowing of her being two-faced and trying to gain Caleb's trust to obtain her freedom. In the rare occasions where she appears to have a sincere reaction, like she is taken back by him mentioning the death of his parents, or when she is talking about her real dreams and desires, the framing never shows her reflection. I thought that was a nice touch. And then the last one I have is Alicia Vikander was in One Red-Nosed Day and a Wedding with Andy McDowell, who was in Muppets from Space with David Arquette.
Oh, that was quick.
All right. So for future
what they always tell
reference,
me.
this is where the budget goes, okay? All right. Ex-Machina was made for $15 million. And according to slashfilm.com, I looked a bunch of different places. It grossed $36.9 million. That was one source. Maybe there's other ones out there, but that was the best one I found. Plus, a lot of these other places have like a bunch of commas and shit, and this one likes to round up or down. So I use slashfilm.com for that.
Hell yeah. That's crazy to think about. $15 million. That's a lot of money for us peons, but like for a movie budget, that's really nothing.
Yeah,
it's really cool. This is the early days of A24. They were still a new studio at this time.
For sure.
And Oscar Isaac also was in another A24 movie the same year, A Most Violent Year. It's a good movie. Go watch it, Brian. Actually, Brian, I think you really would like that. It's like a crime thriller, like a kind of quote gangster mob movie. It's good.
That sounds decent. Pick it.
It's not. It doesn't fit our show, but
it sounds decent. Sorry about the budget thing, Mike. I'm
just like fucking with you, bro.
I can't remember shit these days, boys. What movie were you doing tonight?
All right, I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. Hey,
let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. I'll kick us off first. Why not? Favorite kill, I'm gonna go with Nathan just because it looked good.
Yeah,
I love, like I think Dustin, you mentioned it. I love the subtle stab that Kyoko does. Like there's no emotion behind it. She's just holding the knife and he backs into it. I really like that. Then I really love when he's walking down the hall, bleeding in his hand. He's like fucking unreal. I just love that line delivery. Least favorite kill, Kyoko. My kinfolk, my skin folk, she didn't deserve that. She should have made it out into the real world with Ava. I mean, Ava could have helped fix her up too. Why not? They could have, lived it up, paid rent together, shared an apartment, lived a good life. Anywho, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, and I agree 100%, Mike. Like, no offense, Brian, because I know you're a big Starship Troopers fan, but that's just not my thing. But stuff like this, I dig it because it's realistic. I think God, I'm going to sound like a pretentious film nerd when I say this.
Here we go.
A lot of A24 movies, I feel like, tell a story, and I feel like this one does as well. Technology,
But the generator wasn't really fucking up like she was doing it. He just thought that.
But like, remember like at the beginning, he's talking about all the wiring and it's like, come on, man, you got to be a billionaire. You ain't figured out something better than this shit yet.
It's because he's an alcoholic, brother.
Yeah.
All
right.
Hey, drink.
Let me go ahead and knock mine out real quick. Favorite kills, Nathan. Because, like you said, it was such a subtle stabbing, and then his line delivery after it, and everything that happened was just, he deserved it too. Least favorite kill was Caleb. If he wasn't such a fucking dumbass, he wouldn't have been trapped in that house and starved to death. What a fucking pussy. My final thoughts in the rating. It's a damn good movie. It's a bit slow at times, particularly in the first half. Easy for me to say. It's very dialogue heavy. And I did want more chaos and violence. I don't know. It just all happened so abruptly and she got free and that's it. But still, very solid. A24 rarely misses. I know Brian agrees. 8.25 for me.
All right. My favorite and least favorite kill are actually the same, and it's Nathan. I've kind of touched on the duality of his character. I think the kill looks cool, but also really would have loved to have seen Nathan live to kind of see how that would have turned out. But anyway, I understand why he had to die. All the reasons I've said already, how uncomfortable the movie makes me feel, and it's just not very often that a movie can make me feel really anything other than, oh, that was good, or oh, that was bad. It's, like there's, movies, the more movies we watch on the show, the less something moves the needle for me as far as like just sticking with me. Like this movie was deep for me because it touches on a subject that I actually care a lot about. And I think it does a great job. I think the acting is great. Cinematography is great. Music throughout is great. And the story is fucking fantastic. It is a long Black Mirror episode that I highly recommend for everyone. I can't quite go 10, but I'm going 9.75. That's how much I fucking like this movie. I am a big fan.
Hell yeah.
All right. My favorite kill, Nathan. My least favorite kill, I agree with you, Dustin, Caleb. This just proves right here that I don't hate all of A24 films, but this also proves that the damn company is capable of funding a film without some fucking weird, pretentious script that makes no sense and doesn't have cum dripping from a lighthouse floor or mermaid vagina and old man balls and giant penises with arms and attics. This was the first A24 film that I ever saw, and look at the wonder that it beheld. I'm going to rate this one a 9.5 only because the ending dragging just the slightest.
All right. You said a 9 point what?
5.
5. Okay. So that gives us a composite score of 9.125. IMDb has this movie at 7.7, too low.
What do they know?
Wrong.
Rotten Tomatoes, 92%.
Yeah, there you
those
go.
critics know their shit. And spoiler alert, this is going to be our highest composite rating month that we've ever done. I'm just calling it now. A24 don't miss.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't think St. Maud is going to get the highest ratings, but I think it's pretty good still.
I got you if no one else does.
My man.
Seen it. Dude, this is almost a never seen it month for me, except for Maxine. No.
Brother, a couple months ago, this was a never seen it month for me. So
no, I've seen the Ryan Reynolds movie. I did like that, but it's been a long time.
I've never seen that one. Anywho, Brian, great pick. I love Ex-Machina. I really hate that I didn't get to see it in IMAX when it came back out, but that was the night I went and saw Winnie the Pooh, and we just interviewed those guys. So you win some, you lose some.
Fair.
I think that's a country music lyric and a song I like recently. But anywho, let's move on from that. Great pick. Mike, and let's announce your pick for A24 month next week, and then I'll shout out our blood donors, and we'll get the hell out of here before we say something egregious again.
Buddy, there's a lot of edits for Brian tonight. Can't wait.
Nope.
Yeah, so, hey, you better, pal. Yeah, so as everyone knows, the most recent Ty West trilogy it's one of my favorite horror trilogies of all time. Maybe my favorite horror, just straight trilogy across the board. Loved X, loved Pearl, and now it's time to do Maxine, the newest A24 film, at least I think so, question mark? No?
Sing Sing came out yesterday.
Oh, okay, fine.
Egregious.
I'm excited to do Maxine. Love me a goth. Love the story that Ty West has been telling, and I'm excited to talk about the final film, hopefully, to be honest, because I don't like this little rumors of a fourth film. I don't think it's necessary. I think we're done here, and I think it ends off in a good place. Very excited that it's out on video so we can talk about it, because Dustin wasn't going to fucking let me do it if it wasn't.
That's not true.
Yeah, bitch, it is true. You made me change my pick.
You brought up a good point. I wonder how many actual just horror movie franchises stop at a trilogy.
Not very often.
That would be a good ranking.
Yeah.
I can't think of any on top of my head.
Yeah, we
Conjuring,
can't
but
do
they
our
had another
favorite
one coming out.
trilogies because
I can think of several that should have.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
And some that should have stopped after 2. Halloween Kills.
And some that should just be 2, but cut out the middle movie, like this trilogy we're talking about.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Look at us agreeing.
Listen,
Look at us agreeing.
Yeah.
All right.
Pearl is not bad. It was just so unnecessary.
No, it wasn't. The dialogue at the end, the monologue at the end alone, for me, a goth is worth the fucking price.
Frozen Empire wasn't necessary. All right, let's move on.
Oh, God.
I took that personally. That was emotional. I'm sorry. I was emotions. All right, let's shout out our blood donors.
Y'all are letting your emotions speak. I'm not saying that it was a bad movie. I'm saying that we didn't need Pearl's backstory because Pearl didn't make fuck all in the grand scheme of things when you can look at the first and third movies.
But then you wouldn't have got to see her fuck a scarecrow, and then then that would have been a waste. So
I wouldn't have known that there was French pornos in black and white. So yeah, okay.
Congrats on the MCU retconning all of its dead characters. All right, let's go.
Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker, 3-time legendary blood donor. She's picked. I think she's picked every movie that we haven't reviewed yet. Intruders and Kiss the Girls. Actually, I think she changed her Intruders pick to a different movie, but I'll update that later. Camper level reoccurring Nina, Michelle Merzer, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, and Michael Evans. Camp Council reoccurring Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Shan, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Matt Strickland, Brooke Maley, Thorne David Phillips, Heather Superduck, Jennifer Davis, Me Too Close to Home podcast, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, and Max K. That's a lot of names. We really appreciate y'all. You take a big burden off of us paying these bills because we're all poor except Brian.
What? Poorest.
I think he bought that hotel in Norway, to be honest with you. Appreciate y'all listening. We'll be back next week for Maxine. I'm excited for it.
Yes, sir.
Fuck Jackson Pollock.
Just want to remind everybody,